He talks about seeds, and now we're going to hear some more about seeds from Mike and Margie Stroud.
Well, Margie told me that it's going to be Mike.
Oh,
Marty did all the research, so Mike gets to regurgitate.
Oh dear. Those work really well. My assignment tonight is to chat with you for just a few minutes about heirloom versus hybrid seeds. The word heirloom is interesting. The main word in it is heir. And I wondered about that, H-E-I-R, and these are seeds that are handed down for multiple generations without being altered, genetically altered or anything. And literally, when you use an heirloom seed, you're using a seed that, in order to be called heirloom or heritage, has to at least be 50 years or 50 generations of seeds to be even considered by that. I have a handout that'll be on the website that you can look at a lot of different things. Here's an example of a true heirloom seed. This is African corn. I had a friend of mine, my brother, son-in-law, that worked in Nigeria, and when he came back from Nigeria this time, he brought a sack full of this corn. And I said, so what can you tell me about it? He says that among the indigenous peoples in Nigeria, this corn has been used for 4,000 years. Now, I'm really interested to see if it's going to grow. And I've handed it out to half a dozen different people because he brought back a whole bunch of that stuff. The name for this corn all through Africa has different languages, but all the languages translate down to one word: corn.
Man.
It's not candy corn, it's not golden bantam, it's not just corn, okay? So here's an example of a true heirloom heritage seed. A seed that has been passed on from generation to generation without being altered. And literally, these people depend on this kind of seed in these places to survive. It's gone down. Let me talk to you about GMO. You can do a little research on genetically modified seeds. There's a big controversy on that right now. There's a couple of countries that have rebelled. One in Africa and another one in Haiti are going against UN and other things that want to modify and control the seeds that we plant. And these people just flat rebelled against that. If you go online, you can look at it. It's really interesting to see what's going on. They're fighting against some big government, world government influences to change the seeds and modify them. My personal opinion on that is it's for a purpose of controlling populations, but we won't go into that. The whole idea of the Round Valley Concerned Citizens organization that you're seeing here tonight is what happens in an isolation event. That's kind of the buzzword that we use in this group. What happens if we're cut off? You know, it's one thing to store food, and the LDS Church has been told for their members for years to store a year's supply of food, clothing, where possible fuel, and this, that, and the other. Well, that's good to store a year's supply or something. Well, what happens when that supply runs out? That's the big question. I mean, you can only logically store so much food, and that gets you through what I call the dead zone, which is from seed time to harvest. So what we really ought to concentrate is that if you come into a point, if an isolation event happens where you can't grow, and it's not the growing season, then your stored food gets you to a point where you can marshal your resources in your community and then put some seeds in the ground and start to renew your resources through these things. Heritage and heirloom seeds are ideal for that. A couple of other things that are interesting, you can, here's an example. I had 6 cases of heirloom seeds that I bought in 1999. So I pulled them out the other day and I planted them to see what would happen. I planted them on the 28th of March and went by 3 weeks, nothing, 4 weeks, nothing, 5 weeks, nothing. And then all of a sudden these tomatoes started to come out. These are tomatoes that are 16 years old that have been stored in number 10 cans. So they'll grow, but it was slow. At the same time, I had another batch that was in 2007. They came a little bit quicker, but it got me nervous to think that I had all these cans that were worthless, so I was getting ready to chuck them all, and the very next day when I would have thrown all these cases out, I saw a little green head come up in one of these. I thought, well, You just bought yourself some time, bud. You know, so we sat back and watched to see what would happen. I also had some 2007s. They're doing good. By the way, my 99 peppers started coming out today. Who was it that told me? Said, I mean, that was the 28th of March, right? And I'm just starting to see 99 batch peppers. So we bought some 2015. And you can get this. We went online, looked at all the reviews for heritage and heirloom seeds, and decided because of the reviews, this is the one we get. So what I've got is I got 3 batch of heirloom heritage seeds going, 99s, 2007s, and 2015s, and they're all growing. So the point is 16 years in a can, sitting you know, in a cool, dark place, and they went ahead and sprout.
Nice.
So here's the idea, folks. Heirloom seeds can be used over and over again. They're open pollinated, which means they're pollinated by insects and wind. You get a true plant that repeats itself there, genetically modified. We're guinea pigs on that one. They've only been doing GMOs for about 20 years. So the verdict's still out on what kind of genetically modified seeds, vegetables that we're eating, and what it's doing to us. We don't know yet. So basically, we're part of a worldwide guinea pig experiment on this thing, all right? And I don't like that. On the hybrids, you get a better yield, you get a more uniform, but everybody that says that I've done research on says the heirlooms all taste better. Now, Chris would know better than that than anybody because he's in the business. I'm really looking forward to see what he has to say. So here's the idea behind heirloom and heritage seeds. You got to have something that you can use over and over and over. There'll be presentations on how to save the seeds. I'm really looking forward to that because I'm going to be doing a lot of that this year. My whole garden this year is heirloom out of 3 different batches. And so I'm excited to see what happens on that. That's for us, for our group on an isolation event, when we get through to where we can renew our resources, if we don't have seeds that can be saved, why, we're dead within a year.
Your heirlooms also come out at different times. They
Yeah,
don't
like
come out
that.
like a hybrid all at once.
So I've been planting my garden today. I was putting radishes in and beets and lettuce and all kinds of different things. And my wife says, you're going to plant them all, we're going to have this major harvest all at once. Not so with the heirloom. With the hybrids, it comes on you all at once. But with the heirloom, they germinate differently, they mature differently so that you have a good yield and a good harvest over a period of time. Even if you put them in the ground at the same time, you're going to get a staggered crop production. So I'm excited about that. I'm a student on this, but I know that we've got Chris and we've got Steve Heave and a bunch of others in here that know more about this than I do, but you can see that mine are growing. So I consider that a success. Thanks. By the way, if you want to eat this 4,000-year-old corn, I'll be glad to give you a little bag and you can try it out. Okay, just see me afterwards. I got a lot. It was smuggled in from Nigeria.